Hello and welcome to another podcast episode. So I've got loads to share today. I've managed to finish something. There's something I forgot to share last week, so I've got to talk about that this week. And I've got a new magazine design, which I also forgot to talk about last week. Plus the workshops for Knit and Stitch Harrogate are finally live. So we'll have a quick chat about that as well and what else is coming up this autumn and over the next few weeks, because my plans have changed a bit for the rest of the summer. So I hope you enjoy today's video. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. So we'll start with the stuff I forgot last week. So first off, the new issue of Knitting Magazine, issue 271, is in the shops now. It came out last Thursday, so a week ago. That's the cover. It comes with a free summer socks workshop, which has 3 different techniques and 4 different designs that you can knit. So if you're into sock knitting or you want to learn to knit socks, go for that. If you're watching my podcast, when I was in London in March for Stitch Festival, you will have seen me knitting on this, because that's when I was knitting on it. And I was frantically knitting every opportunity I had because of the deadline. So I knitted all the way up there on the train. And then while I was there, the first day, I had to look around London and just enjoyed myself. And every opportunity I got, I would sit down and knit for half an hour. And then on the 3 days, I think it was, I was teaching, 2 or 3 days, I can't remember. I had quite long breaks in the middle of the day on all the days I was teaching. So I go down to the main road, just down the road from where the exhibition centre was, and find a coffee shop or a pub and sit and knit. And because the weather was nice, a couple of times I was actually able to sit outside and knit. One place, I think I sat for like 3 hours knitting while I was having lunch. So I got a lot done, but it was a bit stressful with the trip as well. So that's what it looks like. It's got a stocking stitch with a lace pattern at the top, same on the back. There are beads in the lace pattern, but it's really difficult to make beads stand out on the picture. If you look closely at the lace pattern, you can see it. I try to choose beads that contrast quite well with the yarn, but it's very difficult. You can obviously leave the beads out if you prefer. If you want to take a closer look at this design, I did a separate video on it, which was out on Tuesday this week. So the video before this one, so go and check that out if you're interested in learning more about that design, plus what else is in this issue. But it is in the shops in the UK now. So before I go on to the other thing I forgot to talk about last week, let's just talk about what's coming up this autumn. So I've already told you that I have workshops coming up at Black Sheep Wools. I have workshops there in September, October and November. Some of them are sold out already, some of them are nearly sold out. I think there's still spaces on my finishing techniques workshop in September. That's the next time I'm going up there. And I'm actually adding some stuff to it to do with short row shaping for the shoulders if you are knitting a sweater from the top down. So it's a method that's very popular with a lot of designers at the moment who design mostly top down sweaters. So I'm changing my workshop a bit to fit that in. And then I'm also teaching 2 brioche workshops, one for 2-color brioche. I think that's November. So if you're new to brioche, or you've had a go at brioche with other teachers but not quite managed to get it, come to my workshop. So do come to my brioche workshop in November, and then in October I'm doing a brioche cowls workshop. So at the moment I have 3 brioche cowls patterns. 3? Or have I got 4? No, I got 4. And you can choose one of them. So whether you want to go for the very easy one, which is the coolest one, which is just plain 2-color syncopated brioche, or whether you want to add some increases and decreases to make it slightly more difficult, there are 3 patterns for 3 levels of difficulty. And I am actually thinking about designing a new one as well before the end of the summer, so there could be another one to go over that one, and it's also one of my favorite winter accessories to wear. So if you're interested in that, if you've done a little bit of basic brioche but you've either forgotten it and need a refresher, or you would like to like more practice, or you want to move on to the next stage with adding increases and decreases to create beautiful swirly brush patterns, then check out that workshop. I think that's the October one. Then at Yarndale in September, last weekend in September, I'm teaching filet crochet, which we'll talk about more in a minute. Mitered squares, which are really good fun, good way of using up your stash, and you can make a variety of things from garments to accessories to blankets to cushions to whatever. And I'm teaching Continental Knitting. Now, I think Continental Knitting is full, but the other workshops have got spaces last time I looked. So go and check those out. And then in October, I'm at Knit and Stitch in London at Alexadra Palace, and I'm teaching Continental Knitting, Easy Lace Knitting, Crochet Circles, 2 Crochet Circles workshops. And then I am in Harrogate for Knit and Stitch on 21st and 22nd of November. Those workshops are now live as well, and have started to book. So apparently they've sold 10% of workshop tickets already. So do go and check those out. I'm doing Crochet Circles, Foundation Crochet Stitches. So if you hate starting your crochet with a chain like me, I'm going to show you how to do Foundation double stitches and Foundation treble stitches. English crochet terms is what I'm using. Stranded, Colourwork, Knitting, Continental Knitting, Easy Lace Knitting, and Moebius Cowl. So the Moebius Cowl workshop, which is a little bit more challenging, but as long as you're fairly confident and you have all your basic knitting skills and you're willing to give it a go, it's not difficult. In the Moebius Cowls workshop, you're going to start one of my Moebius patterns. I'm thinking about designing another one. So you learn the Moebius cast on, and we'll start the pattern. We won't get very far into the pattern because it's only a 2-hour workshop, I think, or an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half. I taught it in Harrogate last year as well. But you'll learn the Moebius cast on. Once you've done the cast on, the rest of the cowl is fairly easy. So the cast on is the most difficult bit. And then I'm back at Black Sheep Bulls the week after that. For the Knit and Stitch show at Harrogate and Alexadra Palace, there is a discount code, different one for each show, which you can use to get money off a day ticket. All the workshops I'm doing this autumn are listed below, and I think this will probably be it. I don't think there's likely to be any more workshops this autumn than what is listed, because I'm already quite busy. And at some point this autumn I also have to go to Norway. Talking about Norway, I'm actually going back to Norway. I was away last weekend at Black Sheep Bulls. I'm actually doing a vlog which will be out next week. Yes, on Tuesday. So I filmed a weekly vlog last week, which will be out next week, because as my Tuesday video, because this week I had to release the video on Knitting Magazine issue 271. So the weekly vlog from last week will be out next week, where I talk about a lot of the stuff I was working on this week, and also about Black Sheep Bulls. And on the way home from Black Sheep Bulls on Saturday, my mum rang me, and she's really struggling at the moment. She's just not very well, and we don't know what's wrong. She had CT scans when I was there last time, and she hasn't had the results, and it's been 4 weeks. She does have a doctor's appointment coming up, and my dad's going back into respite care a week earlier than expected. So instead of going in next week for a week, he's going in today for 2 weeks. And my mum's really desperate, so I'm going back to Norway 2 weeks before I'd planned to. I should have gone back towards the end of August. I'm going back in a week and a half, I think it is. Yeah. So no, week and a half, 2.5 weeks. Yes, 2.5 weeks. But we're also going to Scotland before then, so it's going to be quite busy next few weeks. And my plan was to come back, and before I go back to Norway, my plan was to clear out most of the stuff in this room. Well, I'm going to start doing it. I don't know how much I'm going to get done because of having to go back to Norway again. And we also had to move our trip to Scotland by a few days because we have to attend a funeral for one of Simon's relatives. Not like a close relative, but close enough that we want to go to the funeral on the way home. So we had to shift that trip by a few days, which is good because it gives me like 2.5 days at home before I go back to Norway. The most stressful thing about holidays for me, or travel, I wouldn't say Norway is a holiday, but for travel for me, is the fact that I am on quite a lot of different medications and trying to make sure that I have enough. So I now have to make sure that I have enough till end of the first week in September. And that's really difficult because surgery won't prescribe that much in advance, and it's very difficult to speak to somebody. So I got to pop in there about something else today anyway. So trying to work out how much more I will need of my drugs. It lasts me till September. But that's one of the most stressful things for me. Forget about packing clothes and knitting and that kind of stuff, is how many drugs I need to take with me. Anyway, enough about that. It has kind of changed my plans a bit for this summer. There were some stuff that I planned to do for the next few weeks that is now not going to happen. But that's okay. This period of my life is relatively short, I would guess. And when my parents are no longer here, I'm going to miss my frequent trips to Norway. So I'm trying to look on the bright side, and the fact that I get frequent trips now to the place where I grew up. And I think once they are no longer here, there won't be a reason to go. I mean, there'll be a reason to go to Norway, and I also have nephews there that I'd like to see, but there won't be a reason to go to the town that I grew up in, because it's not that special. It's not the place you go for as a tourist. But I might be able to visit other parts of Norway. So let's talk about what I finished last week, actually, but I forgot to share it. So you may remember a few months ago, I designed and crocheted this cowl. It's filet crochet, but as you can see, it's very difficult to see the pattern. I love this color. It's Symphony Diva DK, which is in the reduced section of my website. Oh yes, I forgot to say that there are still loads of yarn left in the reduced section of my website. My website will close Tuesday morning, I think it will be, at sort of 8-9 o'clock in the morning, and then it'll reopen for a few days at the end of the following week, and then it'll close again for 4 weeks while I'm in Norway. But because you can't really see the pattern on this, even though I really like this color and I'll probably wear it a lot, so I got a skein of Spectrum fiber from the Yarn Club last year, I think it was. Can't remember which month it was now, and I crocheted it again. I started this in April when I went up to Black Sheep Balls, and I think it's got 6 sections. Each took me 40 minutes. It shouldn't have taken me that long, but it's taken me till now to finish it. So I actually finished it last week, but I forgot to talk about it. So I finished the crocheting, I blocked it, I filmed the tutorial for how to do the sewing up so you get a completely flat, invisible seam. And I need to take some photographs this week, add them to the pattern, and then I would like to release the pattern next week, I think, because I haven't self-published a pattern for absolutely ages. So my plan is to try and release the pattern next week, I think. So the other thing I've been working on a lot, which I finally blocked now, is these. These were on the dining room table last night. My husband said, "Were you making like a head thing?" I guess he thought about you can put this on your head. I don't know what he was thinking. But I did those 2 colours, I think mostly when I was in Italy in May, and then I've been working around the others since. Most of them I did in Norway. I did a green one in Norway, the purple and the pink one. That bright neon green I think I did all of that when I was in Black Sheep Balls, or my trip to Warrington. I didn't actually crochet during my workshop, but I crocheted at the services on the way up. I may have done some last week before I left, I can't remember now. And then on the way home I started those. So so this week I had to block them, because I had the only ones that had been blocked were those 2 purple ones. All these had not been blocked, and I think I can block. I basically pinned out as many as I could till I ran out of pins, and I think I could block like 20 at a time. 20 at a time? Yeah, I think it was. So I have been busy blocking them this week. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colours. I'm getting 11 of each colour. Little tiny 20-gram minis. What I did when I was in Norway last time, in the first half of July, was that I wound them up by hand, because they're so small. I find it easier to do by hand than to get my winding equipment out. Wound it up, and then I just put a hook and one of the minis in my handbag. So when I was out running errands for my mum on my last trip to Norway, I would, if I had a chance, I would quite often sneak into the coffee shop for like 10-20 minutes and make 1 or 2. When I timed myself at home a while ago, it took me 10 minutes to make 1. When I was doing it in Norway, I actually filmed myself doing 1 on my parents' balcony, and it took me just over 8 minutes. So I'm going to do that again for our trip to Scotland and my trip to Norway. I'll wind a few skeins for going to Scotland, and then I'll just leave on ball and a crochet in my handbag, because it's so tiny. It fits into my small handbag, so I don't even put it in a project bag. I just put it loose in my handbag, and then when I get home, any star flowers that I managed to crochet I just take out. So I'm hoping to do maybe 1 or 2 colours while we're in Scotland, and then I'll probably take the rest of the minis with me to Norway, because I really want to finish this by the end of August. I don't think I'll take the ones I've already done. I was thinking about taking all of them with me, so I can, if I manage to finish the rest of the minis, I can actually assemble it in Norway. But I don't know if I can have space, because I only travel with a backpack. I got this new packing cube for my last trip, which is like a vacuum one. So it's a really sturdy plastic one, and then it comes with a little pump that you can suck all the air out. And it definitely does mean that I can take more stuff, but there's some other stuff I need to take as well. So I'll probably leave this at home and just take the remaining minis I have left after Scotland and try and finish those while I'm in Norway. And then when I get home, I can assemble it and finish the pattern. I think that's what I'm going to do. Talking about those minis, so those minis were from my Cool Wool Links 2024 Yarn Advent. I've actually pulled out 3 more colours to wind up for the next few days, weeks. Pulled out those 3. I just randomly pulled out some. There's loads of different colours. But I also had a Yarn Advent from the Discreet Unicorn. So I'd already made this Padstow tote from my Discreet Unicorn Yarn Advent from 2024. It's the Sparkle DK yarn, and I only used like 3-4 grams, max 5 grams of each color, so I had a lot of yarn left. So I've been thinking about what to do with that. So I started making these star flowers, and I finished them and I've sewn them together. I will try before I edit this to get some photographs of it actually hanging up outside. So I had 3 of each color, so I had 15 grams ish left of each color, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a bit less. So I managed to do 3 of each color. The problem was I wasn't sure how to put it together. If I put it all together into a scarf that was the same width, like 3 in a row, it would have made it 2 meters long, and I don't think I'm going to wear that. So I decided to start with 2, then I did 3, and then I did 4, and I mixed them up. I tried to mix them up so there was never 2 of the same color next to each other. There are some colors that are very, very similar, like this one. It looks like I have 6 of that one, because there are 2, I think it's that one and that one. They look very similar, but they are different. So there are a few like that look very similar but are actually different. The same with these yellows. I wasn't very keen on the oranges, but I managed to mix them in with some pinks, make it a bit better. And then we go into pinks and purples, coral, and then into purple and blues at the end. It was actually a 25-day advent, so I had 1 colour that I only managed to make 2 of. It was a blue one, so I didn't actually use that one. But the way I thought this could be worn, and it's quite warm today, so I don't really want to put this on, but because I'm feeling quite warm. But I was thinking, kind of like wrapped around my neck like that. This is probably going to mess with my mic. And then flung across like that, bunched up. I don't know. I need to take it outside when I'm not roasting hot and play with it a bit and take some photographs and stuff. This will be a pattern. I don't know whether to do a pattern separately for this or wait till I've got the other one finished. The other one will be a different shape. The other one I'm actually going to turn into hoping a sweater. So I might wait till I finish that one as well and then put them both in the same pattern. The idea I have for the pattern is this is the pattern for the star flower, and how you put it together is basically your choice. So you can put it together in a variety of ways. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But anyway, I've spent this week sewing these together. I basically sewed them together point to point. I've just taken my yarn with a sewing needle around there. You can probably join it as you go as well as you work the final round. but you then need to know which order you're going to put them in before you do, and I didn't know that. So really pleased this is done, because I've been working on this for a while now. So I need to get some photographs and stuff like that. I'll see if I can get some photographs outside after I finish this, and then insert that here if I get a chance before the sun moves around this side of the house and it's too bright to take any pictures. But I don't think the pattern for that will be out till like September, October time, but we'll see. So more crochet this week. It's been a lot of crochet this week. I was going to cast on for my second Truly Hooked Formula One collection Landers Helmet sock. I took it with me to Black Sheep Wools last week, and my plan was to cast on. I never got around to it because I was working on this sweater before I went to Norway last time, and I had to rip it all out, which was a bit annoying. Well, I didn't have to rip it all out. I had to rip the sleeves out because I didn't measure carefully enough, and the sleeves were too small. I could have avoided that problem by trying it on. The sweater is wide enough. It's a little bit short, so I want to make it slightly longer, which means I got to take out a couple of rounds. This for the bottom edging. But I had to take out the sleeves, and taking them out was a little bit of a pain because I've sewn them in. But this is the first sleeve, which I have finished. So this time it is much wider, and it fits me. The first sleeve, I could fit it, I could get it on, but there was no ease at all. So first sleeve, it has been redone. This is filet crochet, and I've done the first sleeve, used a bit more yarn than the original one, obviously. And I'm now working on the second sleeve, but I haven't got very far on it. Oh no, I think I'm nearly halfway. I actually did quite a bit on it last night. So I think I'm just a couple of rows away from starting the decreases. I think I did 48 rows in total, and I think I'm on about 20 now. So I'm not far off the middle, really. And in a couple of rows, 1.5 row, I'll start decreasing. So that will speed things up a little bit, hopefully. So I'm going to finish that sleeve. I want to finish it this week, and then I'm just going to undo the last couple of rounds on the body, or rows rather, weigh how much yarn I had left, because the body was worked in rows. So I've got to do the front and back separately, because that's the problem with crochet. For those of you who don't crochet, with knitting you can work flat and then you can change your working around and it should look exactly the same. But a lot of people, the tension is slightly different, but it shouldn't be. The tension should be the same. With crochet, it looks different. You can't crochet, unless I have missed something along the way, but you can't crochet in the round the same way you crochet back and forth. So with the body, I have to undo the seam at the sides a little bit at the bottom, undo a couple of rows, the last 2 rows. I did a row of trebles and a row of doubles to kind of finish it off at the bottom. And so I've got to undo that, and then weigh the yarn I have left and divide it in 2. And then I just work as many rows as I can, because it is a little bit short. It kind of finishes at the widest part of my stomach, which is not where I want the top to finish. If I was wearing a bit of dress, a sort of slightly floaty A-line shaped dress, it might be okay. But I don't wear dresses like that very often, so I don't really want it to look like that. So that's the plan for that, and I want to try and finish that by the end of this week, so I can block it and talk about it next week on the podcast. I think that is it. Oh no, I got one more thing to share with you, which isn't a project, but it is some yarn I purchased. I had not planned to buy any yarn when I was at Black Sheep Wools, but on the second day, when I came back from lunch, outside the workshop room, there is an area where there's loads of sales yarn, so a lot of reduced yarn. They have some beautiful yarns there that I've been tempted by before. But I was saying earlier this summer, I can't remember when it was. It was when I was starting that. It was when I was starting this filet crochet sweater. I was considering doing it in a cotton yarn to make it a bit lighter and easier to wear for summer. And I was considering the Lovecrafts own yarn brand. What's it called? Paint Box. That's it, Paint Box. My daughter is using the Paint Box cotton by, I think it's by Lovecrafts, and she really likes it. And I looked at it online, and it was really, really cheap. And then, but I wasn't sure. I was like, it's a good quality. I don't know. And I also was thinking, I really like Rowan Summer Light 4-ply, because that's a really nice yarn that I have used loads of time before. But I think it's about twice the price as from the Paint Box cotton. So I was like, I will be good and use something I have in my stash. So I used this yarn because I had that in my stash and I had them for a while. So when I was at Black Sheeples on Saturday, walking back from the toilet, and I saw they had some Rowan Summer Light in the sales basket. So I looked at it and it was DK, and I went, oh, I don't think I want to do DK. And then I looked to the left and there was a basket full of 4-ply. So I looked at the colours. It only had 2 or 3 colours, I think. And I went for this colour, which is colorway 420. And I was wondering whether it's a little bit pale. I prefer brighter, slightly brighter colour. But this is really pretty. So I bought 10 of them. And I think because they're reduced, and then I got a discount on top, and I had a £5 voucher. I think I paid like £25 for 10 or something, which is incredibly cheap. So this sweater, I had 400 grams, and that's enough, but it may not be quite as long as I wanted it. So I thought if I buy 10 balls, and they're 50 grams each, so it means I'll have 500 grams. This meterage on this is slightly less, I think. It's 175 meters per 50 gram, whereas the one I'm doing the crochet sweater it would be 200 meters per 50 gram. So as I've just knitted myself a sweater using Sandnes yarn, tin linen, which is cotton, viscose and linen, knitted that last time I was in Norway. I haven't worn it. Well, no, I worn it maybe once or twice in the evenings, but I haven't really worn it a lot because it's been really hot since I came back. But I am taking that with me when I go to Norway again, because Norway, second half of August, schools go back. It's kind of start of autumn in Norway. It usually still is quite warm, but the weather can start to cool down. And I'm not coming back home till end of the first week in September. So the weather between now and then can change a lot, both here and in Norway. So I'm going to take the sweater I made, which I talked about last week or the week before. I think it was last week I talked about it. It's downstairs. I haven't brought it up with me. I'm taking it to Scotland with me as well, hoping I can wear it a bit there, because I'm assuming in north of Scotland will be a bit cooler. And so I thought, what should I knit with this? So I thought, even though I've just finished this crochet sweater as well, this is in wool. So I thought, as I've done this other sweater, knitted sweater in cotton, viscose and linen, I thought I will crochet a sweater in cotton. So I got like 2 light summer sweaters, 1 knitted, 1 crochet. I am thinking about going for filet crochet again. I thought, should I do the same as that one I'm just working on? And I thought, no, I don't fancy doing the same one again. So I'm going to do a different pattern. I don't know what yet. I need to try and find time to swatch this week. I've got a couple of magazine designs that aren't due till September that I also need to swatch for this week. So got quite a lot to do this week. I was thinking I may not actually cast this on till I go to Norway. Feels a bit silly taking 10 balls of yarn with me to Norway when there are so many yarn shops in Norway, but I do really want to work on this. I also have this in Norway, several balls of this I bought when I was there in June in the sale in the local yarn shop, but I don't think I fancy working on it. It's a mohair blend, mohair silk wool blend. Yes, mohair silk wool, and I don't think I fancy working on it while it's still likely to be hot, so I may leave that till I go later in the autumn. So my plan is to take this if I can fit it in. So my new travel cube that I can suckle the air out of. It worked really well last time. I took some clothes with me that I left in Norway, so I'm hoping it'll work just as well this time, and I can take this with me if I have space. So my plan, I'll talk more next week about my plan for what to take to Norway, because I need projects for 4 weeks. Yes, I could buy yarn in Norway, but I also have yarn here that I've got planned for projects that I want to get started on, because some of the stuff I plan to do this summer, like film some videos for, I want to update one of my online courses. I'm not going to be able to do that now, I don't think, because it'll be too difficult to film in Norway. So it means I got to find something else to work on while I'm in Norway. So my plan is to try and get a bit ahead on some small knitted accessories for patterns to self-published this autumn. So I pulled a couple of yarns out already, and a few ideas are starting to form in my head. So I'll talk more about that next week, I think. But yeah, I've got that, and I'm planning to do a crochet sweater. So tell me, what would you do? So it's been very crochet centric this week. I will try this week to cast on for the second neon yellow sock. I want to take that to Scotland with me. I'll probably be my main car project. We're driving up over 2 days. First, we're driving up to Wales to stay overnight, hopefully, with my daughters, to drop the dog off. And then we're driving up to Scotland over 2 days and home over 2 days. And possibly also with a stop in Wales to pick up the dog, because we've got to go to a funeral south of Birmingham on the way home. So I don't know after the funeral whether we can go back to Wales, get the dog and drive home. It might be a bit too much. Although I'd really like to get home, I think, because I haven't got that long before I got to go to Norway. So that's the plan. So there's going to be loads of car knitting. So my plan is to cast on for this sock and take it and try and finish it in the car on the way to Scotland and on the way back from Scotland. And then take some of these to make some of these when we're out and about, and then take another main project with me. But I'm still going to be here next week, so I will talk about that next week when I film next week's podcast, I think, when my plans are a little bit firmed up. That's it for today. Don't forget to check out all the links to my workshops below at Black Sheep Wools, Yarndale, Knit and Stitch Harrogate, and Knit and Stitch Alexadra Palace, and all my social media links, and sign up for my newsletter. And that's it. There are going to be some special offers in August, which I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video. So make sure you sign up to my newsletter, because there will be some special offers in August, because it is my birthday month. My birthday is not till the end of the month, but it is my birthday month. So there will be some very special offers for you. So sign up to my newsletter so you don't miss out. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. I will see you next time.